Lost in Random: The Eternal Die is a roguelike action game by Stormteller Games. It's a standalone story based on the action-adventure game Lost in Random from 2021. You play as the former ruler of the Kingdom of Random, Queen Alexandra, who has been shrunken down and trapped in the Black Dye by a fiendish entity who desires to destroy her from within. It's up to you to defeat the evil Mare the Knight and escape your imprisonment in the Black Dye. The world of the Eternal Die is a dark, whimsical fairy tale with an eclectic cast of characters who bring to life this dark, imaginative, and oddly inviting world. The design is clever, borrowing from classic games like chess, dice, and board games. The voice acting is really great, and each character you meet and story unlockable you find continues to reveal the truth of the Black Dye even after multiple playthroughs. You will fight through 4 unique locations, each with a powerful boss at the end. Fight enemies, avoid dangerous traps, and earn currencies. As typical with roguelike games, when you lose, or possibly even win by some miracle, you can spend your hard-earned leftovers back in the hub world to power up and receive quests to complete the next time you enter. There are 4 weapons to choose from with 4 available upgrade paths for each weapon, and passive stats to upgrade like more health and extra revive and so on. You will also meet many dungeon denizens with high-risk reward minigames and a shop where you can buy relics, dyes, DYES, health, and pearls during your run. Relics are the main upgrade system, and you equip them on your grid. They come in 4 different colors and have different effects. You can mix and match these as you progress through the game. There is plenty of choice and build diversity. Random isn't just a theme, it's part of the game progression. The rooms in each area are slightly different, as well as the upgrades you can get, including your secondary card ability. Your dice friend, Fortune, who accompanies you, can be thrown at enemies and will roll a different damage value. There are plenty of abilities that involve a random roll of the die. All of the randomness keeps the game fresh and replayable. It also makes getting that one poison build you liked harder to set up again, but that will encourage you to try new things, making the experience a competent mixture of chance and skill. Complete a full run, and there are multiple endings and modifiers that make the post-game harder and unlock new content. The combat is fast and fluid, with an emphasis on strategic placement and keeping a watchful eye on your surroundings. There are spike traps everywhere, and enemies love to charge up and slam into you, dodge, run around, flank you, and explode. Thankfully, enemy telegraphs are pretty easy to see and avoid, minus a few issues. The game is also relatively fair and balanced, except for the occasionally unfortunate cheap hit or room. You begin each run by choosing a random card-based special attack that is refilled as you deal damage to enemies. Your living dice companion, Fortune, can be flung at enemies to deal damage that varies based on what side you roll. You can also use Fortune to gamble at the mini-games at merchants found in the dungeon, or just throw them into a pit because it's funny. When you find relics that slot into your grid, they have perks like losing health does poison damage to enemies and such. These relics are color-coded, and some have multiple colors. Matching 3 of the same color in a row or diagonal row will provide you with a 50% upgrade to any of your stats. Red for weapons, yellow for cards, blue for dice, purple for conjurations, and green for luck. When you combine them, the color will disappear, but you will find dyes, DYES, which add a color to a relic. There are also pearls that don't have an ability, but can be placed in the grid and combined. These are better for the early game, as they become almost useless when you have a full grid of relics. You have to be very careful where you place your relics, as you can only replace them and can't move them around after placement. I like the element of strategy here when choosing how to upgrade your dice wielder. The first fight in a game is the double fight. That's pretty intense, but it's not too bad. As the young people say, this game goes hard. There are only 4 bosses in the game, but they are all pretty well thought out and fun to fight. I like the dark atmosphere of the game, as it reminds me of Tim Burton movies and a little bit of Alice Madness Returns, one of my favorite games. I like the weaponsmith, who is all about puns and jokes.
My body, at last! Rack is back and betting on black!
Other than a few bad jokes, there isn't too much to complain about in the area of presentation or combat. Now, that being said, I feel like the spike traps trigger a bit too quickly and some enemies don't give you time to react. Your basic attacks get old after a while, and even though there is a charge attack, there are no dash attacks or ways to change your basic weapon combo. There are 1 or 2 bosses that clutter the screen with stuff, which can be a little unfair, but in general the game is well made and won't gank you around too much. One area though does have melee enemies that explode when killed, tunneling worms that explode, flying eyes that grab you with tentacles and then explode, and turrets that fire exploding rounds and then, you guessed it, explode. In general, I like Lost in Random: The Eternal Die. Even though it borrows a bit from some other possibly better roguelikes, it does enough to be its own thing and provides a fun and challenging gameplay experience with an engaging and sometimes deeply personal story that will keep you playing even after the credits. So with a roll of the black die, Lost in Random: The Eternal Die gets 4 dice rolls that inflict poison on an exploding turret construct out of 5. I'm Dan T from Twisted Banana Productions. Please subscribe for more gaming reviews, and I'll catch you later.